faces are normal.
You need to get arms.
You get arms. Very good.
Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I have the honor and pleasure of being your MC and to welcome you, and also, Minister Fullerton, MP Jim, dignitaries, officials, staffers, and community members, welcome. And there will be detailed introductions to some of our people later. Have you heard that we had a bit of trouble, difficulty getting to today? Well, MP Jim and I, with lots of support from Charlie, have been encouraging, planning, filling out reports, answering questions for about 4 years. And then we had dates, but the first two failed. January 10th, we had an outbreak at the Manor. February 28th, we had a Canadian winter storm with that rail blockade. Deciding on another date, we decided to pick March the 13th, Friday the 13th. Now, some people worried about that particular day and said, "Are you sure?" And I said, I think it's kind of lucky. And I spoke with Charlie about it, and Charlie said, by gosh, it's extremely lucky, because do you know that many years ago, I met my wife on Friday the 13th? And it's been really wonderful for him. So after thorough discussion with officials, we decided on a manor for the 13th. But then, with all of the COVID-19 concerns and being raised and all the things that were happening, we had to change by the minute. So instead of being at the Manor this morning for a meeting with staff and residents and having the meeting there, we decided for safety of residents and all the people there that we should move it, and thanks to the kind invitation of the township for inviting us to be here. So here we are, we're ready to go. We have all sorts of exciting things to talk about, and we're going to be moving very quickly. Earlier today, Minister Fullerton did have almost an hour to meet with staffers, and that was a very productive session, and she's a very kind and thoughtful and generous person with the comments she made. Before calling on MPP Jim, I want to just say a few words about our area. We're rural, mainly agricultural, and dairy and cash cropping are the big things. We have agriculture businesses, and I think of Parmalat, and we have 4 machinery dealerships in our area. We have other associated businesses, but we also have important healthcare groups here in our area. We have the Manor, we have the hospital, we have the Eastern Ontario Health Unit office in Winchester, we have doctors, dentists, and clinics. Various other businesses throughout North and South Dundas, some large and some small. For example, in Morwood, there's a modular house building business. And in South Mountain, there is a international trucking business. I'm a bit prejudiced. We have the most kind, considerate, thoughtful, generous people in Ontario. We're a mix of workers, both directly and indirectly involved with agriculture. We have large and small businesses, owners, and employees. People who continue to work in Ottawa or commute to work in Ottawa and other areas. Retirees, many who are volunteers. An expanding, progressive area. Youth in our elementary and secondary schools who are being prepared for the future. And we have always had outstanding visionary leaders in our area. In the early 2000s, we successfully fundraised about $16 million to work with the government to redevelop our hospital. And that's an important healthcare provider, a healthcare leader, and not just here in Winchester area. In our long-term care home, over the years, about 80% of the residents have been from North and South Dundas. The remainder from North Stormont, North Grenville, Russell, and Ottawa. The Manor was built in the 70s by the Allguire family with 60 beds. It was expanded 3 times to 98 beds. But the halls, the facilities, and the small 4-person rooms remained the same, and we were a sea-level facility. And I want to note that sea-level designation was not based on resident care. Care has always been excellent. We have awards to prove this, as well as positive satisfaction surveys from residents and families. The Manor was purchased from the Alguires in 2012 to be a not-for-profit operation. Just last year, we had Accreditation Canada review our area and our home, and the inspectors were really positive and excited about our home and gave us a rating of exemplary standing. They were really impressed by the motto we live by: ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. And they were impressed with several other special activities here, including our big bicycle that carries residents as they tour Winchester. And those 2 inspectors actually had a ride. Staff was most proud when those inspectors asked if they could take positive ideas from the Manor and share them with other homes. There's a new building needed, more rooms needed, more facilities that need to be updated to be current A-level ministry standards. So here we are. We know a new building will be expensive. We also know that we can raise our share of the dollars. And I have to mention again the caring and support in this area for all of our residents, and especially for those who spent their lives building and making this area what it is today. Our leadership understands this and always follows through. And we always try to be a bit ahead. Now, Charlie and I visited the SD&G County's Council and asked for their support back in October. We asked for $3 million and yearly dollars. And in January of this year, the United Counties Council of SD&G approved their budget that included a $4 million donation to this project. Now, we're not shy, so we also asked municipalities around, and one of the asks was here at North Dundas. We just asked for $500,000, and they approved their budget a couple of weeks ago, and the donation of $500,000 is there. And you know, we have some other asks outstanding, and we're waiting to hear more. And I might say that our foundation office, our businesses, and our residents are ready for action. So at this time, back to the program, and I'll call forward MPP Jim for introductions. MPP Jim is no stranger to people here. He's been here for a bit.
Well, thanks, Bill. And you know, Bill talked about the Winchester area, and I'll I guess frame that. I grew up and lived in the far east of this riding, down in Lancaster Township. And I had a sister that worked in the hospital up here. And my daughter had her 2 children up here, because Winchester has become kind of a hub for in my area, which is, you know, more than an hour away from the expecting mothers to come here to have their children because of the reputation it has. I also grew up in a time when there were a lot of farm dealerships around, and really Winchester again is some of the only farm dealerships in our riding are in Winchester. So it speaks about the hub and the friendliness, and of course when I talk to people my way, they know many people up here. It's one big community. So I want to thank and congratulate the hospital and Dundas Manor for the great job they do, because it really is a hometown feeling that's spread out and makes everybody welcome. So here we're today for good news, and I was joking about it is the 3rd planned date, and it's funny, I go back into January. I'd paid for a train trip up to Toronto. I ended up canceling it 3 times. The last time I didn't have to pay for the move because it was the part of the strike. But just how hard it is to plan something you expect you should be able to do with some consistency and not worry about it being an issue. But you know, we have some unusual times, and of course today we have the COVID-19 issue we're dealing with on not just a Winchester basis or a country basis, but actually a global basis. So it is a evolving problem, and something that is I know the minister will talk about. So anyway, I go back to 2018. I have the privilege of getting to know Minister Fullerton, and really we're lucky to have somebody that's got the knowledge, a family doctor in seniors care, certainly very much aware of the portfolio that she's looking after, and we see that because we came in with a huge 15 years of really no homes being built, and now we're already over halfway to our commitment of 15,000 in the first 5 years, because we know it's an issue, and homes such as the Dundas Manor, and the other one that comes to mind in this area is the Maxwell Manor. Certainly homes that are sought out by people. People want to be here. There's long waiting lists for a reason, and we want to make sure that we have a facility that's not tied back into the 70s, but is actually modern and can handle some of the issues that we're seeing actually rolled out today. With the new facilities, we'll be much more capable of handling some of these outbreaks that seem to be happening much more than they've had. We had one 100 years ago, and then the last one we had was in the 2000s, and we've had 3 of them so far. So it's something that's increasing with, I guess, frightening frequency. So anyway, I just want to welcome up and introduce Minister Fullerton, friend and colleague, and welcome to Stormont, Dundas, and South Glengarry, and welcome to Winchester.
And we'll do the elbow bump. I was sitting here. Can you hear me before I go to the mic? I was sitting here and I was looking at this brilliant vertical poster, and I was reading this, and of course it was mentioned about the ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen, but then my eyes fell on this one, that we value respect and dignity and inspire happiness and joy. And I think that really says so much about the Dundas Manor. So I am really pleased to be here today. Someone was asking me, are you still going, this COVID thing? And I said, look, we've had 3 times we've tried. If I have to take a horse and buggy, I'm going to get there. So it really is a pleasure to be here. And you've got real champions here. Not only with MPP Jim McDonnell, but Charlie. I've met Charlie at a number of places when we've been trying to get the announcement and get things going and confirmed the bed allocations. And I tell you what, he's amazing. He doesn't give up. He just sticks to it. And I know you're a community of people like that you get things done, that you have a sense of how you're going to get to your goal, and you do it. So congratulations to all of you. So I got to say, I'm coming from a background as a family doctor. I started my career visiting long-term care homes back in the 80s, so almost 30 years ago. And so I've seen progress over the decades, but we are really in a critical time right now where we have an aging population, we have long wait times. And here we are as a government elected back in 2018. There were allocations made, they didn't get built. Why didn't they get built? Because we hadn't understood, the previous government hadn't understood what the problem was. So we've made it our mission as a dedicated Ministry of Long-Term Care to be resident-centered, to put residents at the center. And I say that because when you come to a long-term care home, it's not a place that you go to stay. It really is a place that you go to live. And all the staff and all the people who organize the homes, all the way to the administrators, they're the ones that create the culture and the tone of those homes. And so a long-term care home like Dundas Manor is a place you go to live, not just to stay. And it is the high-quality care that is provided here. And I was listening to the patients, or I call it patients because that's my doctor hat, the resident satisfaction. That speaks so much. And we're looking at developing a 21st century long-term care system that really puts residents at the center and understands it is the residents, their well-being and their happiness that matters so much, and to create a flexible and responsive system. We went through this with my own father. My father had dementia, my mother was the caregiver, and 3 of the kids are all family docs. And we knew that this was an issue playing out across the province. And so when I think of the families that are affected, I think of the residents that need that respect and the dignity that's offered in their homes, and the happiness and the well-being. And it's sometimes the smile that makes the difference for someone's day. So we'll all be touched by long-term care. And as I said, our government has a dedicated ministry to this. It's not just about building capacity. We've allotted $1.75 billion to build capacity in our long-term care homes, but you can't build capacity unless you have the staffing. So we're also addressing that with a staffing study that will implement a strategy, because as a frontline health provider, I can tell you when I hear the word study, I often think, oh, that's going to take some time. But in our case, we're really looking at implementing by the end of 2020, but we need to have the experts involved and understand what the problem is. And so we've heard about personal support workers. We've heard about shortages of RNs. And so we know that we have to have an integrated system that will have the right model of care and the right skill mix. And this is what our experts are doing right now. And they just had a meeting, a listening tour just a few days ago, to expand from a group of 10 people all the way out to the broader community. So I always say fixing problems is about communication. And I've just said at our meeting before this, we need to communicate. If you can let us know other things that you need here. We've heard the staffing issue. We've heard about that. And I'm so pleased to be able to be here today and say that we are redirecting dollars to the front line to get seniors off the wait list. And I'll be absolutely frank. We have almost 37,000 people on a wait list for long-term care. So as we build capacity, we also have to be innovative in the community. So programs that will help people stay in their homes longer, programs that will allow more home care. So we're working in conjunction with the Ministry of Health. Some of these things are housed, like home care, daycare programs. These are housed in health. But this is a government-wide approach in terms of how we deal with an aging population. And it's going to take everything, all our integration, all our coordination to really meet the needs of the community. And I know you have community paramedics out here. That's also helpful. But the home care and creating care in the community, absolutely essential that we understand how to do that. So we will be innovating, modernizing, investing. And I heard about the communities rallying to support this home and this redevelopment. And that's really, really my pleasure to say not only 30 new spaces, new beds, but 98 redeveloped. And it's critical that we understand how that gets packaged, because as we build new beds, we also have to redevelop the older beds. So that will help get people off their wait lists, into the beds, and the homes really providing that high quality care that we need. But this must be integrated with the community. So the beds will also take pressures off the hospital. You've heard of hallway healthcare. And I can tell you, as a family doc on the front lines for many years, we heard this many times, that things are building in the hospitals. And now we have COVID-19. So, I'm thinking of the first responders. I'm thinking of the staff at hospitals right now. Some of them even operating with screening programs in parking lots outside the hospital, so that they can provide people with those screening. And that testing is absolutely critical to containing COVID-19 at this point. So we all have a role to play in this. Washing hands, proper, what we call it, sneezing etiquette. Sneezing into your arm instead of your hands. Making sure that your flu vaccines are up to date. Making sure that you're practicing what everybody seems to know this term now, social distancing. I think it's a term nobody knew until a few days ago. So it's all about relationships right now, everyone doing what they can and providing an integrated response. And our homes like Dundas Manor, we have active screening now that will be done, and that's one of the reasons we're here today and not at the Manor, where I would have dearly loved to have been. But it is very important that we have proper active screening done at the homes right now, and that was just started as of Wednesday. And so this is an evolving viral issue. So COVID-19, and what we're going to have to do is be adaptable and flexible and vigilant. And so The active screening is really an important part of keeping the virus out of long-term care homes and the Dundas Manor. And I'm just going to, again, tell you how much I appreciate what your community has done to get to this point in the efforts that you, how many years? 4 years? 4 years. And you know, the COVID-19, this is also something that we're just going to have to grapple with and work together to get through. So, wonderful news about the 30 beds and the 98 redeveloped. And one day I'm hoping to come back and see the manor itself, and I'm looking forward to the day when that is done and we're putting more residents into those beds and giving them the high quality care that the Dundas Manor will provide. So thanks to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister, and we're really pleased with that information. Would you guess that?
You know, it's a long time coming, and I appreciate all you're doing.
Well, we're going to keep doing, and we will be successful with your assistance. Absolutely. So thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for your comments, and we were waiting for that information.
Thank you.
So thank you. Okay. So again, thank you, Minister, for the information. Thank you for all of the people being here to be able to witness that and hear that information. And I would like at this time to call Mayor Tony Fraser forward to say a couple of words. While Tony's coming forward, I want to say that in the interest of letting you know that several of the mayors weren't able to come today because Dr. Paul, our Eastern Ontario Health Unit head, has called a 10:30 teleconference this morning, and many of them are involved in that, but Tony has it covered. So Tony, may I call you forward?
Thank you, Bill. Before I start, I want to mention to Minister Fullerton, this is the second opportunity I've had to be with you. The first time was with Mr. Boland and Mr. Smurl, and your commitment to our community is apparent and obvious, and I truly appreciate that. So good morning to everyone. As mentioned, I'm the Mayor of the Township of North Dundas, and I'm excited to be here today to witness this announcement. And I just want to start off by saying our seniors deserve to live their lives with a level of dignity and respect that is their due. They're the architects and builders of our communities, and without their determined efforts, we wouldn't live in such comfort that we do live in. And I want to take this opportunity to thank Minister Fullerton and her staff for being with us today in North Dundas, and I also want to thank some others for ensuring that there is a positive future for the Dundas Manor. Mr. Bill Smurl for his tireless efforts, and if you don't believe me that they're tireless, Mr. McDonnell, our MPP, will attest to the 4 or 5 phone calls a week that they are tireless. Mr. Charlie Boland for his involvement, guidance, and leadership in this effort, and thank you very much, Mr. Boland. And there are many others that deserve recognition, but especially the residents of Dundas Manor and their families, and the staff and their families of Dundas Manor for their patience and understanding during this approval process. So before I forget, I'd like to mention that one of the people that sat at the council table and made that determination that we would support municipally the effort is Councillor Gary Annabels here with us today. And my fellow county councillor that supported the larger effort from SDG counties, the Mayor of North Stormont, Mr. Jim Wirt. I believe he's sitting here too, and I'm glad to see that both Gary and Jim are here to witness this today. Thank you. So on behalf of the SDG County Warden, Mr. Frank Prevo, and his council members, I extend thanks and appreciation to be considered and able to be a financial partner in this enterprise. And to that, I'll turn it back to Bill. So thank you very much for being here, and thanks again to Minister Fullerton.
Thank you, sir. Good job. And if I might add, Mayor Steve sent an email to me asking that I say to the minister, thank you very much, and give his apologies for not being able to attend. And Mayor Jim Wirt from North Stormont is here. Would you like to say a word, Jim? He's fine. Jim has been an ardent supporter. Then at this time, I would like to call forward resident representative Joan Dunlap and Susan.
Thank you for asking us to speak today. As we are doing this announcement off-site, I want to say hello to all the residents watching us from Dundas Manor. Hi, everyone.
Special welcome to Minister Fullerton. We have the best residents and staff at Dundas Manor. We cordially extend that invitation for you to meet them all on another special visit. We echo the comments made so far, and this is indeed a joyous day. At times we weren't sure this day would ever come, but we did not lose faith and knew that a new Dundas Manor was in our future. I have said this before, there's not another long-term care home in the province that's more excited, appreciative, ready, or deserving of this news today.
I live in a 4-bed wardroom. I have been a resident here since October 2018. These spaces were not made for privacy. At times it affects our dignity. We lack any personal space, and the bathrooms are way too small. I speak on behalf of the residents of Dundas Manor who love this home and the people who live and work here. We have made the very best of an outdated physical structure, but we are very happy about today's announcement. This will provide each resident with a better living environment, so we sincerely thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
We have so many dedicated staff in this home, and their jobs are just made more difficult in the current facility. So imagine a home with a hallway that's clear of lifts, tables, carts, and supplies. Imagine a home where a resident wants to leave the dining room or come in later, and he or she can actually do so. Imagine the end of hallway dining. Imagine a staff room that meets the needs of our employees. Imagine helping a resident to the bathroom in doorways that are large enough to accommodate their wheelchairs, equipment, and our staff's assistance. Imagine a building that is fully accessible.
The residents of this home have dreamed of this day for long before I moved in. We are so excited to see a new home developed in this community. It is such a proud day for Winchester and the surrounding area, and we are appreciative of the commitment made today. We look forward to the next visit by the minister in a hard hat when we finally break ground.
I bring greetings from Advantage Ontario. I will not read the full message from Lisa Levin, CEO, but she said, on behalf of the board and members of Advantage Ontario, I want to extend big congratulations to Dundas Manor on today's announcement. We are so thrilled that you can now move forward on your plans for a new and larger home. Your organization is a shining example of the tremendous leadership and vision in the not-for-profit sector and the incredible work our members are doing to support residents in living their lives as fully as possible. We wish you all the best, and we look forward to hearing about your journey to transform Dundas Manor. We also need to recognize our board of directors for their tireless work on advocating our needs to the ministry. While we are thrilled and look forward to a new Dundas Manor, we would also be remiss if we did not take time today to remember all the residents who have lived in this home and have dreamed of today's announcement, but are no longer with us. Today we especially think of, Earl, Norma, Daisy Gord, Laura, Ron, and Wes, just to name a few special folks.
Minister Fullerton, we would like you to come up to the podium as we have something to present to you today.
We are giving you a Dundas Manor jacket with your name embroidered on it, so you're now officially a part of our Dundas Manor family, and we hope
my goodness,
you will wear it proudly.
Lovely. Thank you.
Susan, can you also get over here?
Sorry.
Okay.
A little further? A little further. Okay, a little further. There we go. I'm getting the.
All right.
I'm going to come over here too. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's lovely. Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. I would give you a hug, but we're practicing social distancing.
That's right. Okay.
One last thing.
Yep. Thank you.
you know, I also think of the persons from the Manor that are no longer with us, and the good advice I've gotten from some of them. And Minister, one of the persons was a guy called Wes, and he passed away about 6 months ago. But he said to me about a year ago, "Bill, do you think it's time you took a few of them by the shoulders and gave them some firm advice?" And I will always remember his comments as he made and said that to me. Thank you very much, Joan and Susan, for those kind words and those very positive words and those very important words. Extremely well done. You represented the Manor really well. Can I also say that I'm extremely pleased that we have a lot of volunteers here, but we have several boards with us and board representatives with us today, and I'm just going to, and they can raise their hands when I call if they wish, but we have members of the Winchester District Memorial Hospital Board, we have members of the Auxiliary Board, we have members of the Foundation Board, we have members of the Manor Board, and all are volunteers, and all are really good, caring people. Plus, we have a number of volunteers from former boards. So we're well represented with the people who care in this particular community, and we're always pleased with that. And Minister, it's already been talked about. We're looking forward to inviting you a couple of times, once to meet our residents and once to at least turn the soil and have that new building. And we're going to move with breakneck speed. May I call on Pastor Debbie Poirier, minister at Christ Church United in Chesterfield, for a few words of thanks.
This is a day that God has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And the Creator God said, "I myself will dream a dream with you." Good dreams come from me, you know. My dreams are all possible. A little bold sometimes, not for the cautious Manor woman, but for those who share my dreams. I give you patience, humor, courage, and a listening heart. I will do the rest. Then they will risk and wonder at their daring, run and marvel at their speed, build and stand in awe at the beauty of their building. You will meet me often as you work, in your companions who share the tasks, in your friends who believe in you enough to lend their own dreams, their own hands, their own hearts to your building. There will be sun-filled days, and sometimes it will rain. A little variety. Both come from me. Be content, be inspired, be bold. It is my dream you dream, my house you build, my caring you witness, my love you share. Dear God, fill our minds with knowledge and appreciation of the dream with which and for which you call us now. Fill our hearts with the courage and the vision that will make this dream come true. Breathe life and energy into our hands, that we will always find joy in dreaming your dreams into reality. Bless all those who have been and will be a part of this great next adventure for our community. Bless especially the residents, staff, and volunteers at Dundas Manor and all of our seniors' residences, who live out your call of true compassion and community every single day. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Pastor Debbie is one of the ministers that regularly goes to the Manor and visits and assures them of good things coming. So thank you, Pastor Debbie. I think before I call Charlie, I want to just add again, I cannot say enough about the staff, Susan, and your staff at the Manor. They are so dedicated, so caring, and so involved. And if you doubt that, you should hear the number of times they remind me of things that I better be thinking of. I also want to call on and thank Charlie Boland, our Chief Executive Officer at the Winchester District Memorial Hospital and the Manor. Charlie's been with us about 7 years. Charlie has the knowledge and interest and enthusiasm to really go after things, as the minister and others have indicated. And I'm really pleased with that, and I'm really pleased to call Charlie forward.
I'm very aware I'm the last speaker, so I'll try to be brief. I just want to offer up a couple more thank yous and then emphasize something we've already heard several reference to. So I want to express my sincere appreciation to all levels of government who've helped us get us here. But I want to single out one person who couldn't be with us today, who's actually been part of all those levels of government and has been a stalwart supporter of us for at least the last 8 years, and that's Eric Duncan. Eric has helped us and supported us when he was mayor of North Dundas. He's taken action when he was on county council. He's helped us when he was warden of Stormont Dundas Glengarry. He helped us when he was the assistant to our then MP, Guy Lozo. He's helped us in his role within the Conservative Party. And even unexpectedly, since his election as federal member of parliament, he's actually made phone calls on our behalf to get us today. So join me in thanking Eric Duncan. And then I also want to express our appreciation to leadership. To the Alguire family for starting Dundas Manor more than 40 years ago. I'd like to recognize Peter Sorby, who was the inaugural chair of the board of Dundas Manor and actually worked for several years before that to lay the groundwork to get us to become a public entity. And then I also want to talk about our current chair. We've only ever had two, which is our MC today. So several of us a few weeks ago had the pleasure of being invited to celebrate with Bill his 80th birthday. And if you know Bill and his energy and his activities, I think when we got the invitation, we thought there was a typo, that it was really his 50th or 60th birthday. So I won't go on about that, but I'll just talk about Bill and his role at Dundas Manor. He was the vice chair for some time, then he was the chair of the board. And as chair of the board, he chairs the meetings, recruits board members, comes to residence council meetings, comes to the manor, expresses appreciation to staff, will send bouquets of flowers and provide gifts to the staff. But for this particular project, the new development, he has been, as we've heard, like a dog with a bone, indefatigable. I have no idea how many phone calls you've made on our behalf, probably hundreds. Meetings, he's been to meetings, we've gone to meetings in Ottawa, in Toronto. There's been meetings in Ottawa and Toronto Bill's gone to on his own, just in case he might run into somebody, an official. And, you know, there was no luck or randomness about him running in. If there was someone in the room that he wanted to run into, they saw him. And in fact, there was one day, it was during the week, it was about noon, early afternoon, and I got a phone call, and Jim and Bill and Eric were in Toronto, and they said, could you hop on a plane? We're going to meet with some ministry officials in a few hours. Well, I couldn't just drop everything and hop on a plane, but I was fully confident that they were going to do the work without me, and Bill has just been incredible. There is no meeting that he wouldn't go to. There's no one he wouldn't call and, you know, talk to him on a Monday, and we'll say, maybe you should call this person, this person, this person, and we'll check in next week. Well, by that evening or by the next morning, we'd already checked in and he'd done that. So, Bill, this project, this achievement is as much yours as anyone else, so thank you. Now, I'm just going to emphasize something you've already heard reference to, and I'm going to start with a little bit of a history lesson. 42 years ago, Dundas Manor opened. Was anyone there? Probably not. I wasn't. I can only imagine it was shiny and new and exciting. And if we were back there, we'd have seen residents some of whom had their own cars and came and went on their own. I can't imagine there were very many. If there was a wheelchair, it would have been a wheelchair or two. There were no scooters, maybe a walker, and it was a shiny, exciting building. Sometime over the last 40 years, that's changed. With the acuity of our residents, you know, now we're full of walkers and wheelchairs and scooters, and that's very difficult for us all to get around. It takes up space. Sometime in that last 40 years, it's become unacceptable, as it certainly is today, to have 4-bed wards and hallway dining. The acuity has changed, and at some point in that 40 years, it became the building we have today that's congested, that's in decline, that's just unsuitable for anything, and we're so appreciative to be looking forward to a new building. But also, in that time, and certainly in the last few years, we continue to get testimonials, cards, letters, families expressing their appreciation for such incredible care. We pass all our many surprise government inspections. Accreditation Canada has come twice recently to give us their very highest award, full accreditation with exemplary standing. And then every year we do our survey of residents and families, and usually we get about 98% satisfaction. Sometimes that plummets to 97 or 96. And so how is that possible? We've got this terribly dysfunctional building with residents who have very high care needs, and we're getting all these accolades and provide such a great care. Well, the answer is our staff. And we have the most amazing staff who do magic every day. We are one family with all the dynamics that goes with almost any family, but we are one family, and I just want you to join me in thanking our incredible, incredible staff who are going through, right now we're having a staffing shortage, and we're So that brings me to our conclusion. This is an exciting event, but long-term care is kind of a sober topic. And for any of us in healthcare right now with COVID, it's a very, very intense time. So I thought we'd just conclude with some fun. And we're going to do something that probably isn't characteristic to most of these announcements. But a couple years ago, we celebrated our 40th anniversary. And we came up with a song that was reminiscent of actually 40 years before that. And you all came here to sing this morning, didn't you? Oh, yeah. The answer is yes. So we're passing out some words. We expect you all know this song. Honest, you do. Just give me a second to get it.
I thought he was going to sing. Roll. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Do you still have your mask? No, I left it on the table.
No, or shame.
Dare I ask, you want to join me?
Just don't ask for a solo.
Sorry, I gotta go.
So expect it all sing. One word of explanation. We are the Dundas Manor Long-Term Care Home. DMLH. Hey there, there's no need to feel down. We said, hey there, we know you come around. You're invited, even if new to our town. We will all be happy. Hey there, there's a place you can go where you're welcome. Won't depend on your dough, you can stay here. And we know you will find many ways to have a good time. Here we go. It's fun to stay at the DMLH. It's fun to stay at the DMLH. We will care for you all, time and again. All our ladies and gentlemen. It's fun to stay at the DMLH. It's fun to stay at the DMLH. We'll inspire with joy. We'll feed you a good meal. You can do whatever you feel. Our commitment is enriching lives. Residents, we are helping you thrive. We serve you from morning bath to good night. We make sure everything's alright. It's your home. You can do what you like. Entertainment or ride on a bike. Teamwork. You stay at the DMLA. We'll inspire you with joy, we'll feed you a good meal. You can do whatever you feel. Winchester is where we are. Residents come from near and from far. Community supports all that we do to make residents' dreams come true. 78, that's when our home began. Elquires, they had the plan. Since then, we've had laughter and tears. A new building will bring more cheers. It's fun to stay at the DMLA. It's fun to stay at the DMLA. We'll inspire you with joy. We'll feed you a good meal. You can do whatever you feel. DMLA. It's fun to stay at the DMLA. We serve you from morning bath to good night. We make sure everything's alright. DMLA, you find it all at the DMLA. We will care for you all, time and again. All our ladies and gentlemen at the DMLA. Your own time voters. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Charlie, and you'll see that he's a multi-talented gentleman that leads us on, and it always adds to the activities and the excitement of the place. And he and his family often, his son and daughter, often come to the manor to entertain. So there you go. So part of their Christmas day is at the manor entertaining the residents. So
Students should go on tour.
now that's one of our board members saying that, so keep that and make that in mind. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say again thank you to the minister and MP Jim. I want to thank all of you for being here, a part of this exciting announcement we've just heard. And there is a slight treat at the back, and I'd invite the minister and her aide to come forward for a media scrum at this stage. So thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the activities.
Well, that's the most fun I've had at any announcement, so.
So we'll take a question. Any questions from the local media?
We said everything we needed to say.
Any questions? Oh, there's a question.
What's the dollar value associated with this announcement?
I believe, I want to say.
I can get that to you
Yeah.
afterwards. You can contact
Yeah,
our
just to
staff.
be sure. We'll get
Yeah,
that
we'll
number
double
for
check
you.
that for you. Sorry, Minister.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. We'll just be accurate. Thank you.
Joe, do you have a question?
Any time frame?
Any time frame? Well, you know, we've got about almost 8,000 beds that are shovel ready in the next year, within 12 months. So my understanding is this is moving forward as quickly as possible.
So a portion of those 8,000 beds are here.
Yes.
What's the dollar split? 50-50, 75-25?
Yeah, I don't have that number.
It's very,
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't split like in a hospital. It's very approximately 1/3, 2/3.
How about a thumbs up from everybody?
Look at Joe. I think Joe's trying to move around. Right here at Joe.